So that'll be Yaparama. Yap
Okay.
City, bitch. Yapolodian.
Bees and the yaps.
What is it? Hi, my name is Zoe, and this is the Yapney channel. For the Disney Channel.
I know, but okay.
Okay, well, you just don't respect my artistry, and that's fine.
I do. I respect it. Okay. Anyways. Welcome to MotoMouths, the podcast for MotoGP, motorsports, and more. I'm your host, Zoe, and it's cold.
How cold is it, Zoe?
I don't know, 53 degrees right now, but it feels like 47.
We're around the same place. My feels like it's 45. I love the winter. I'm also named Zoe. And
I love the winter.
Today's been a weird day. I don't know if you can tell.
I'm sure that won't affect our podcast at all.
No, definitely not.
So let's get into it.
Let's. Hey, guess what?
What?
Do you want to talk about Jorge Martin for 2 minutes at the top of the pod?
Every pod. We haven't done it in so long, but I'm so happy to be back.
We're back in business, baby.
But he's not.
He definitely is not. That is true. And that's the update. The update is that Jorge Martin will not be participating in the Portuguese GP that's happening not this weekend, but next weekend. The flyaways have ended. They have a 2-week break, and now they're back to Europe.
But not Jorge Martin.
I don't think Jorge Martin ever left Europe, if I'm being totally honest.
He has not left the fish pod, but Mark has now joined him.
Yeah, so our 2 most recent MotoGP world champions will not be racing in Portugal. Yeah, they both won't be there because Mark will be in the pod.
Yeah, with Jorge.
Yeah, and maybe even Carlos Sainz.
We'll see.
Carlos Sainz loves the pod.
Loves the pod. Big fan of the pod.
Not this pod.
We can only hope.
I think he would like this pod. Maybe. Maybe not. I've been kind of mean to him.
I've been nice. I've been nothing but nice.
I want to talk about something not nice, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Before we talk about kind of everything else with the GP weekend, I think we have to talk about Moto3 and what happened on Sunday this weekend for them.
Really horrific and scary.
Like, there's no other words. It's just horrifying. The current Moto3 world champion, Jose Antonio Rueda, had a on-track collision with Noah Dettwiler during the sighting lap before the Moto3 GP.
Yes.
There's not a ton confirmed about the actual collision, but when you watch the footage, and I actually really recommend not watching it, when you watch the footage, Dettwiler is clearly having some kind of issue with his bike and is slowed down a little bit in, a little bit out of the racing line. Rueda is behind him and for whatever reason doesn't really see him. And there are other riders that are also behind Dettwiler, kind of signaling what's going, this guy's slow, everybody pay attention. For whatever reason, Rueda didn't catch it and slams into Dettwiler kind of at speed, and Dettwiler's pretty slow. This is the reason why riders get hounded by stewards for dilly-dallying on the racing line, because when you collide, it's really fucking bad. There's not a lot confirmed, so, I don't want to guess, but it was a really horrifying thing. Both riders pretty quickly were, I think, hella vaced from the track to Kuala Lumpur. As of right now, they're both being treated, they're both successfully being taken care of medically. I think that their families have gotten in. Rueda is talking and everything's up and he's moving around, I think.
Yeah, and Noah is in stable but critical condition after quite a few surgeries, I think.
Yes. So it's a really horrific incident. And there's a couple threads I want to pull on it just from this situation. So the first thing here is I kind of want to talk about Dorna and the FIM of it all. I kind of alluded to it, but this footage is everywhere. They showed it 8 million times during the actual broadcast. You could hear the commentators even were incredibly uncomfortable watching it so many times. Then, of course, it's during the live broadcast. It hits Twitter. It hits Reddit. It hits all of these social places. And these are kids and their parents are halfway around the world. Their parents don't know anything. Their parents have probably not even been able to get out the house yet. And on top of all of that, the lack of, I think, legitimate communication around all of this is a huge problem. Because we've got commentary trying to kind of collect boots on the ground reporting, because Jack Appleyard is typically walking around the pit during this kind of session. But obviously, this is a really fast-moving situation. The medical team's point is to provide medical care, not to update staff. So there's not a lot of information. The only thing is everybody is kind of trying to control information and remind people to mind the privacy of these riders and their families. And yet, journalists, publications are all putting out unaffiliated quotes. They're citing sources. All of this stuff is flying around the paddock, flying around the internet, including Dr. Angel Charda, who is the official MotoGP doctor, is talking to publications. So there's a serious breakdown in communications control happening here. They're also not talking to any of the other riders. What Dorna decides to do is that they decide to hold, because there's a rule that they won't go racing if they don't have, I think, 2 helicopters on standby to medevac people. Obviously, that is
good rule.
Good rule.
Keep that.
Keep that one, definitely. They have to wait for the helicopters to come back before they can even think about starting sessions back up. And then they do end up starting sessions. I think they cut the Moto3 race down to 10 laps. They shifted MotoGP forward, and then Moto2 got shifted further back. And ultimately, it was just this weird communication vibe of them focusing way too much on logistics, and any updates on the medical care of these 2 athletes was entirely buried in feeds.
It was kind of the incorrect order of operations. When you should have been not talking about their health and safety and care, you were. And then when it was finally maybe appropriate to say something was when you were focusing on logistics. So
it was very odd.
Yeah. I mean, look, a fundamental issue at the core of this is that humans want to know and help.
Right. I think to your point, it's a core thing about we are pack animals.
Right. I recently helped a woman who collapsed, and I was fully the only person on scene who knew any first aid and had first aid training. And people afterwards, I mean, this took 20, 30 minutes to get, first responders there, all of this. And people were stood the whole time waiting. And then afterwards were asking me every single question they had. And also, how do I help in the meantime and all of this? Because as human beings, we're inclined to want to help and want to know and to be empathetic.
No, I was watching live because it was 9 p.m. our time. I was just feeling nauseous because there's nothing you can do. You can't reach through the screen and help.
And it reminds me so much of the way that Roman Grosjean's horrible 2020 crash was handled, and how afterwards Daniel Ricciardo said I want to express my profound disappointment that this coverage was shown over and over and over again, when his yes, he's out of the car and he's fine and he's on his way to the hospital, but his wife and his children had to watch that, and that's the only information they have.
And it's so scary because that's, I think, where you get a lot of this, well, suck it up. They should know the dangers and, be okay with it. I think that's where a lot of that mentality comes from.
Yeah. I think, too, it's a severity issue, because part of the reason people watch this sport, unfortunately, is because of the danger.
I think there has to be a reckoning with the fact that this isn't just TV.
Also, I don't fuck with it happening in Moto2 and Moto3.
Completely. I don't
fuck with that kind of
recklessness
or attitude when it comes to displaying the pain of
16-year-old kids.
Yeah, 20-year-old kids. It's not okay. Just because they're chasing a dream doesn't mean that you get their trauma.
Right. I completely agree. There is something else I want to talk about this from a logistics perspective. So there's been a lot of talk over the last few months about Dorna and now Liberty kind of walking away from Moto2 and Moto3. A lot of reports are saying that, they'll be kicked out of the paddock starting next year. This is one of those moments where I think staying involved in Moto2 and Moto3 is so important. Like, we should be focusing on these classes because apparently, I didn't know this, in 2023, MotoGP Dorna removed the 10-minute warm-up session from Moto2 and Moto3 classes to make way for the premier class, like rider parade. So theoretically, they would have had a 10-minute warm-up session before they kind of set up on the grid and then did the sighting lap and then did the race. If it's true that Dettwiler was having technical issues,
they would have been discovered then.
There's a really high likelihood, like we can't say 100% because it does happen that tech just kind of fucks off whenever it wants to. But it's much more likely that they would have caught it in a warm-up session in which like it's a dedicated session, so your job is to kind of head on a swivel, keep an eye out for everybody, and not at the sighting lap, which is your head's down focused on your own race.
The issue for me comes from the in-between. Either have them in the paddock and have the sessions that they need.
I agree.
Or remove them from the paddock so that they can have the sessions that they need and it doesn't have to be cut off for the experience of the premier class. Because where the most safety issues and gray areas and things arise, I truly believe is in that in-between when you're making compromises.
Yeah, when you're trying to like make everyone happy, but you're not actually trying to keep everyone safe.
Right. I think this was talked about quite a bit when Dino Van Toff tragically passed in a crash at Spa. This wasn't a race that was televised. They were, yes, like live streaming on YouTube, but there was absolutely no reason that this race needed to continue. It was raining. There weren't sponsors or commercial properties or anything like that involved where you would want to like have a race go on. There wasn't the pressure that you have in F1 or MotoGP in the premier classes to have racing happen. And so I think with, at the very least, Moto3, when they are still so young.
Don't race.
Or also just like they can be in a separate paddock, you know?
I think we feel the same way about it, where it's like you need to fully invest and focus on like making it the best situation and product. For me, it is full investment with them fully in the paddock along with 2 and GP. Isn't it Ron Swanson that says you can half-ass 2 things, but that doesn't mean you've whole-assed one thing?
Exactly.
Especially when it's like people die doing this. People die doing this consistently. Like this is not, it's really frustrating. One of the other threads I wanted to pull on for this too is, once again, I am absolutely begging for MotoGP athletes to unionize. Absolutely begging. I'm here on my hands and knees praying for this to happen because so many of them specifically went out of their way to say we shouldn't have raced today, but none of you actually put your money where your mouth is. Am I taking them at face value when like maybe I shouldn't because they're able to say this after they finish the race? And this is the comfortable time to say it? I don't know.
I mean, I think also there's a hindsight issue.
Well, so a lot of the comments that they made, I think Bez and Frankie said some very similar things where it was really hard for them to even concentrate on the race. And distracted racing is actually really fucking dangerous. Bez specifically said, it's not fair that we get on the bike without any information about what happened.
Yeah.
We deserve some information.
Because also they don't know if it was a track issue. They don't know if it was...
No, that's the thing. Dorna wasn't speaking to them about any of it. And so I think that is like a huge crux. The 2 things that I saw in like riders' comments on it was, 1, those kids shouldn't have gone racing after they saw this happen. Like bare minimum, that shouldn't have happened. 2, we didn't know anything. We shouldn't have gone racing without information. I don't know. It's really frustrating. I was texting you about this. Ricardo Rossi, who is a rider in Moto3, who unfortunately probably won't continue to next year, was interviewed like 15 minutes after this happened. And he was like, yeah, me and Maximo Giles were right behind them.
Jesus.
And then you as that kid who just saw this happen to 2 like peers and friends of yours have to now go racing.
As somebody in his position, I bet, feels pressure to go racing because
they're still fighting for it. Like even if they're not fighting for a title, they're fighting for a career.
Seat. It's very sad. It's a really harsh and unforgiving element of this sport that I think, unfortunately, we're going to continue reckoning with time and time again.
I think it's like the original sin of motorsport.
No, truly, it's the original sin of motorsport. It's always going to come back.
Like, not to be Catholic about it. But it's always there. Like, we're always putting kids in these situations, and it fucking sucks.
And they just keep getting younger, too.
No, I know.
I think you should be 18 before you get into a career like that.
I agree.
I don't think that kids younger than 18 should be allowed to ride in Moto3.
I honestly really agree.
Like, bare minimum. Bare minimum.
Well, and this also, like, kind of dovetails into that whole issue of, like, the season is so fucking long.
That's the other thing, too, why I kind of see the pro for having separate dedicated paddocks is because they shouldn't, Moto3 kids especially, I think keep Moto2 and MotoGP together, but Moto3 kids especially should not be racing this many races a year.
Yeah, maybe, like, combine it with the Red Bull Rookies Cup and, like,
that's a good idea.
That up.
Yeah, hire us.
Yeah, like a Red Bull Rookies. I mean, Red Bull Rookies does, like, kind of operate like an F4.
Yeah.
So, okay. We've, like, just a really fucking horrific situation, which we have discussed at length. But some other things did happen this weekend in MotoGP, and we should talk about them.
I think so. Where do you want to start?
I think the first big thing, we got to talk about one of the Marquezes.
Yes. So some good news.
Some good news out of Malaysia this weekend is that Alex Marquez has clinched P2 in the championship.
Woo!
Like the superstar that we all knew he was.
Yes.
Alex had something really interesting to say to the press, which I loved. When he was being interviewed after the GP on Sunday, they asked him, like, how does it feel to, be celebrating P2 in the championship, which is kind of a bitchy question.
Yeah, that's very catty.
And Alex was catty back, and he goes, well, I'm first of the losers, but the winner is my brother, so it's a different feeling.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Also, like, if you're the first of the losers and you all lost to Marc Marquez, I think that's great.
I think you're the best of the rest in that case.
Right. Best of the rest is the better way to put it. But I love that Alex was like, first of the losers. Okay, sure.
Sure, King, whatever you need to tell yourself.
Like, in this same conversation, he said that he and Mark never really even dreamed of being P1 and P2 in the championship. Like, that felt like too big of an ask. And he doesn't think that he and Mark are getting the recognition that they deserve for,
okay, pop off, King.
Like this.
I agree.
No, I agree. And it reminds me of what Renita was saying, because she said pretty much the same thing. Like, we've never seen this.
Yeah, we've seen Venus and Serena, but all my love to Mark and Alex, but they are no Venus and Serena.
I think, if I'm being completely honest, I think it's like Venus and Serena are up here. Then it's Mark and Alex. Then I think it's Michael and Rolf.
I mean, maybe. I don't think they rate that high.
I mean, of siblings that have been successful.
I mean, I think that there's a couple football guys that I just know are there, but I haven't.
I guess the Kelseys.
But, like, not even the Kelseys. Like, there's
what about,
other football players.
The ones that do the State Farm commercial? The Mannings.
No, but yes, the Mannings. Yes, I would say that the Mannings are probably up there.
Right. I would put the Mannings above the Schumachers.
Probably, yeah.
Because Michael's carrying them, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And at least Alex has 2 titles.
Yeah.
Because he's got a Moto3 and a Moto2 title.
That is true.
I feel like it's got to be, like, Venus and Serena obviously are miles ahead of anyone else.
Yeah.
We know this. But then it's got to be, like, Mark and Alex, the Mannings, and I guess the Schumachers. But yeah, Alex basically was like, you guys don't like us. And we noticed. Say that. I think, like, what's really interesting about Alex's weekend this weekend is that he said he was feeling a lot of pressure, just like Mark said he was feeling a lot of pressure.
I was just about to say it kind of mimics Motegi.
Yeah, which is like Alex and Mark, similar, Fork Founding Kitchen. We've been through this before. They're always together, codependent until the end. He crashed a lot during the sessions on Friday. He kind of said he was being really conservative during the sprint on Saturday because he knew that he just needed to not crash out to make sure he could, like, secure P2 on Sunday. So he was kind of not riding as aggressively or as naturally as he might in the first place. And then he had some really, really great racing on Sunday.
It was really fun to watch.
It was really good. But yeah, I'm proud of him.
Then they posted a bunch of baby pictures of him and Mark, and it was so cute.
That did actually make me cry. It's fine.
Alex was so chubby.
No, he was a chubby fat baby.
Which love. It was a great weekend for Grazzini overall, though, as Fermin Aldeguerres clinched Rookie of the Year.
He did. It was like a little weird. He was supposed to be on the podium Saturday and got a penalty, tire pressure, I think, which is what it is. He had to give the podium to Pedro Acosta, who I imagine accepted the points, but was not super pleased.
Beef. Is it time to talk about whether or not we're Peck over or Pecco resurrected?
It should be, are we Peck over or Francesco Backgnaia?
No, Backgnaia.
Oh, Pecco Backgnaia. That's a good one.
Yeah. Are we Peck over or are we Pecco Backgnaia?
Okay. Who knows? There's no answer.
We're Pecco somewhere in the middle.
No, you know what we are? Is it Peck over now?
So true.
Is it Peck over now?
Was it Peck over then, and is it Peck over now?
I'm just a girl standing in front of you asking, is it Peck over now?
I can only hope.
So Pecco, genuinely, I've said this so many times, he has the worst fucking luck of anyone I've ever met. Like, unbelievable bad luck. Because this is his first weekend that he's looking good.
Yeah.
And when I say looking good, he is pretty quick on Friday, secures pole on Saturday, wins the sprint in a really dominant way. And it seems like we're Pecco Backgnaia.
Right.
It really seems like it. And then on Sunday, he was really aggressive at the start, just like he was in the sprint. But Alex and Pedro were also very aggressive with him. Alex ends up overtaking for P1, kind of holds it for the rest of the race. And then Pecco slowly but surely starts dropping back. And you're like, what is going on? Like, there's an inconsistency here that feels very like the rest of your season, but not like this weekend.
Right.
The thing about Pecco's 2025 is that he has either been like fully fucking nowhere or on it.
On it. Yeah. Locked in.
No in between.
There's no Pecco sting.
No Pecco sting this year. Truly. So then kind of out of nowhere, he just like pulls off the racing line. And everyone's like, what the fuck is going on?
Typical fucking Pecco.
Genuinely, commentary has no idea what's happening.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Literally. We later find out he got a puncture in his tire. Worst fucking luck known to man.
His tire just wanted a hashtag go free.
No, his tire said actually it is Peck over.
The air in his tire wanted a hashtag go free.
Hashtag go free. Crazy. I mean, he would have been on the podium if his tire hadn't, had a hole in it. If nothing else, it's like the season never stops being interesting for a Pecco enjoyer.
Or a Pecco hater.
Like it just keeps serving it up or serving it down. I don't know.
Keep serving Peck cunt.
When asked like what happened and how he felt over the course of the weekend, he said that he felt really good about the bike. He felt like they learned more this weekend than they did in Japan.
Okay, sure.
And Japan, let me remind you, is a weekend where he won everything by seconds.
I can't stand him.
He then said that this weekend he was really happy with it, but they asked him about like, what did you do? Like what did you change? And he goes, we tried using something on the GP25 that hadn't worked at any other stage Ducati has tried it.
What does that mean?
I don't fucking know. But what I kind of am guessing is that like that's a circuit specific thing. Like it hasn't worked anywhere else.
So how is this the weekend when you learn the most if it's not going to be relevant at any other track?
Great question. If only someone had asked him that.
Put me in, coach.
No, literally. I want to know. There wasn't really anything to write home about for Aprilia. Bez had a pretty shit qualifying. Recovered it on Saturday. Did not recover at all on Sunday. Double podium for Pedro Acosta, sort of, like I mentioned. Bumped up on Saturday after Fermin's penalty. And then Fermin went on to be Rookie of the Year. So he will be going to the gala at the end of the year with Mark, Alex, and whoever secures P3.
Bez? Fingers crossed.
Well, Marco Bezzecchi is 5 points ahead of Pecco in the championship. So that'll keep going for a little bit. And Frankie Morbidelli is 1 point ahead of Fabio Di Gianantonio in their VR46 head-to-head.
Beef.
Keep it coming.
We should look at our predictions from last week.
We should.
I said Alex P1.
Sick.
As P2. No. Pecco P3. Digia fail king. Where did you end up?
He had a pretty good race.
Never mind. You said Alex P1. That is P2.
Okay, well.
Digia P3 and Pecco Fail King.
I reverse cursed and also I was right.
Right. Half and half.
Yeah.
I guess that brings us to the great wide world of motorsports.
It sure does, Zoe.
So I just want to say, remember how Lando Norris last week said that the Ferraris were faster than him?
Mm-hmm. I do remember that, Zoe.
And then, did you see how many seconds ahead of the Ferraris he was in race pace?
How many?
It was like 30 plus.
Interesting.
So 2 + 2 = 5.
Right. That feels like math Lando would do in all the years he wasn't at school.
Right. I think personally it's really, really funny that he is only able to be leading the championship by exactly 1 point.
Oh, I think it's hilarious.
Like, to me, that is so, so funny because it's not gonna last.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, looking at Oscar's last couple of years, he kind of always shits the bed at the end of the year.
But the thing is that
Max is coming. Max is 36 points, I think, right?
Yeah. And how many races are left in the season?
4.
That's a lot of races left in the season.
I saw someone do the math, and I think Max needs 8 or 9 points on top of Lando every weekend to secure the title. Because the math was saying, like, there's an average of 29 points available per weekend.
I don't want to get into the math. Let's just say the math was mathing.
Oh, yeah, there is a sprint weekend in Qatar. So, yes, that math makes sense. It probably will go down to Abu Dhabi.
Probably. If Liberty has her say, it will.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, the 1 point I think is funny.
Very funny. Quick highlights, I guess, that we should talk about. Because, like, I don't know, it was a pretty, like, except for the beginning, it was a pretty boring race and boring weekend.
Yeah.
It was exciting to see Lewis up there and in the action.
Right. I don't think Lewis loved it, if I'm being honest.
No, I think that Lewis was kind of like, oh, fuck, I got to do this. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. I was just kind of cruising along. Let me get back into it. Let me stretch.
Let me lock in. And it's like, babe, you should have locked in 3 days ago.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that this weekend, it was very Roscoe heavy for him. There's like a Roscoe statue that was unveiled. And people like brought a lot of photos of Roscoe. And so like, I'm just saying,
there was
like,
a statue?
Yeah, at Mexico, which I was like, bro,
it would make sense if it was in Brazil.
Right, where he is an honorary dog citizen.
Yeah, and where he's like a Senna weeb. Tell me I'm wrong.
Did I say you were wrong? As Sonaboo.
Oh, you're right. Famously, Lewis Hamilton. Sonaboo.
Does that make Seb Shumiboo?
I feel like, you know how Lady Gaga's fans are little monsters? I feel like Shumi fans are little monsters.
Yes.
And then that makes so much sense about Seb being the way that he was.
And is.
Yeah, and is.
Can't forget that. Okay.
Okay, speaking of Lewis, I do want to talk about Lewis and the stewarding. The way it was presented during the race, I think, was very controversial. But like, I'm hesitant to say this because I know I'm coming from a biased place of like being a Max fan. But the stewarding actually does kind of make sense.
It keeps in line with the rest of the bullshit.
Right, like they're being consistent. So there was obviously a lot of the turn one, what George Russell referred to as like lawnmower racing.
He has such a beautiful way with words.
I love the way he puts words next to each other.
The poet of our time.
George is always, if I speak, like I will never be able to come back from this. And then he continues to speak. Man cannot keep his mouth shut.
Did you see apparently he went up to Ted after like one of the Max crashes last year, like right before Max announced he was having a baby, and he was like,
oh yeah, Ted outed him.
He was like, I know you can't ask me a question. Ask me another question. I'm gonna go off. Love it.
Like, this is what we need.
He, to me, is so Syndrome from The Incredibles.
Oh, stop. Stop.
He's a very wealthy man who pays to be the drama.
And like the craziest thing is that like George actually didn't come from money, really.
No. And also he doesn't have to pay to be the drama. He just is naturally.
Yeah, he just has it.
He has a dramatic air about him that only like the best drag queens and also for some reason Donald Trump has.
You know who else has it? Because I was wondering where you were going to go at the end of that sentence. And I was going to say like old theater gays. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh my God. The guy who played Gandalf.
Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Do you know what his drag name is?
Oh my God. What is it?
Serena McKellen.
I love him.
Because it's Sir Ian together. Sounds like Serena.
Okay, so we were talking about Lewis and stewarding. So turn 1 happened, lawnmower racing that George got pissed about. The sticking point for stewarding seems to be because Lewis was complaining later that like people could come back after like lawnmower racing and just like give up a spot and like nothing would be wrong. The issue seems to be that like Lewis doesn't feel like that was consistent. So when we look at like the turn 1 brouhaha from Max is ahead in a way that then when he gets like pushed off into the grass and then takes like that outer kind of off-road piece and then slots back in. He did slot in a place ahead of where stewarding thought he should have been. He then immediately gives the position back. So did Charles Leclerc. They both did the same thing.
So like, what is the drama?
Later, I can't remember which lap it was. It was like the first 5. Max is battling with Lewis, overtakes Lewis. George is sniffing at the possibility of like following in Max's place. Lewis is still trying to kind of like come back on Max, but Max has fully passed him. Lewis locks up, goes off like track, and then doesn't get on like the off-road kind of thing.
Oh, the runoff.
Runoff road, right. Stewarding later determined that he was like out of control enough that him not going on the runoff road was fine. They didn't penalize him for that. Issue is that when Lewis got back on track, they believe he gained an advantage from timing and a place. And he never gave that back, which is why they penalized him for 10 seconds, which is the standard penalty time
for leaving the track
an
and gaining advantage.
Right.
Well, you know.
And the interesting thing is that like we see this all the time with Red Bull, where Red Bull is always like, Max, give the position back. They've like started looking into it. They haven't told us to do anything. Just give the position back. Let's get out of it. And because you're Max, I don't think they're super worried about like not being able to overtake. They also said, stewarding said that they were monitoring radios because they can hear everything. And so they were waiting for Ferrari to tell Lewis to give the position back, and then they would have like null and voided that potential penalty. But Ferrari never said anything.
Well, typical fucking Ferrari.
No, that's what I was thinking.
It all boils down to typical fucking Ferrari.
I think it's so funny though, because like Lewis has really experienced the epic highs and lows of being a Ferrari driver.
Has he experienced the highs?
I think as high as he's going to get in the next year or so.
Rough.
Right? Again, not to be Catholic about it, but if you're going to be Catholic about anything, Ferrari's a good thing to be Catholic about.
And he's like, Catholic.
The original sin of Ferrari is that they can never get their shit together. They just can't.
Okay. We've got so much to talk about. So, like, let's get into some high hits. Ollie Behrman killed it this weekend. So happy for him. Haas's best finish ever.
Oh, crazy. Did you see he said he was shitting himself?
I did.
I thought that was so fucking funny.
He's a little George Darling in training.
He said he was shitting himself at having an on-track battle with Max Verstappen. And I was like, yes, king of the Verstappes, let's go.
Let's go. Speaking of Verstappes and like the opposite of it, Lando got booed. I just want to say, if Lando was going to get booed anywhere, I think that the man who publicly said that Donald Trump was his good luck charm and that he should come to every race should perhaps get booed in Mexico.
I think he should get booed around the world for that.
I agree. But if it's going to happen anywhere.
Well, did you see, they asked him like, oh, why do you think you're getting booed? And he was obviously there's no easy answer to that. So he kind of didn't really answer it. And they kind of were like, oh, well, I think they're booing you for what happened in like Budapest and Monza. Like specifically, I think they're booing you for Monza.
Good.
Which I'm like, I think people are booing him partly because they don't like him and partly because McLaren is fixing this. Let's be honest.
I think they're booing him for a whole host of reasons, all of which are valid.
And then Lando, with his full chest and face, said, Oscar deserved the win last year in Budapest. I deserve to be ahead in Monza. Simple as that. Which, as we've discussed many a time, sport isn't about deserve.
If I speak,
I think you should say it.
I can't.
He's so annoying. And it's just like, you can clearly tell all the British people involved are losing their fucking shit over it.
I hate
Karun went on
I fucking hate him.
I agree.
Bootlicker.
I agree.
Bootlicker.
I agree. It was crazy. It was crazy. They were like, I think you should cheer louder for the person you love instead of booing the person you don't. And I'm
Fuck
like,
you.
hey, get fucked, actually.
Can we grow up?
It's like, listen.
Can we grow the fuck up? Can we grow the fuck up?
We obviously talked a lot about booze and Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez. But like in that situation, I care less about the booing and I care more about the fact that like he and his family were sent death threats and the booing is like another part of that.
It's a harmless way to express your haterism.
Right. I don't really give a fuck about booing.
Like there's a spectrum here.
Also, if you care about the booing that bad, come on now.
Okay. We need to keep trucking. Oh, almost killed some marshals. Some marshals were on track. Stop being on track.
It was bizarre. Death to the safety car virtual, by the way.
Safety car, virtual.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
These cars are so fucking big.
Also, Carlos's car was fully behind a
barrier.
By the time like
anyone was coming around, the amount of debris that they are calling virtual safety cars for is laughable at best.
Yes, agree.
So let's take a quick look at our predictions.
I think we both predicted Max would win, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm not happy about it. I said Max P1, Charles P2. Bing, 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 bing. Landon Norris P3, wrong. Fail King, Oscar, not really. You said Max P1, Charles P2. Bing, 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 bing. George Russell P3, which, you know.
I had the spirit.
You had the spirit. You also said Fail King, Oscar.
And we were kind of right.
So we'll make our predictions for Brazil next week. It's an off week.
I think everybody in the intervening time should go watch Brazil 2024.
Yeah, let's just remind ourselves what joy feels like.
And like awe.
Yeah. I want to talk about Mexico. And I want to talk about Pecco Award. Pecco Award
God
pulled a very MotoGP move this week in that he had gastroenteritis.
He did. He really did. The gastroenteritis hit him hard.
But he did take part in FP1.
With his gastroenteritis.
I think we should talk about the reason why him at Mexico is such a big deal. I think that it's a big deal because he's very smart about his status as, I think, one of the main stars of IndyCar, certainly in motor racing in the Americas.
Well, and I think it's interesting because when you watch IndyCar, I think Pecco is one of the ones that people know their name if they've never watched a race.
100%.
But he's not winning everything all the time.
No, he is no Alex Palou.
Right.
But he is saying to IndyCar, the minute IndyCar has a race in Mexico, I will never talk about going to Formula One again.
Which is an insane thing to say.
It's like, yeah, negotiate your contract, King.
100%. I think, so there's a bigger issue with like IndyCar in Mexico City in general. NASCAR already has a deal with Mexico City starting next year. NASCAR is actually the first of like the American established racing series to have a contract with Mexico City.
I think is so fucking smart.
I totally agree. I think NASCAR tried Chicago for a while, didn't quite hit the way they wanted it to. That's fine. They tried it. They're in an expansionist mindset. It's very smart to go to Mexico City. Mexico has like huge racing culture, doesn't always have a lot of racing come to them of like the big series. And it's a natural extension of like the Americas. Like, why not?
Any major sports league that is not investing in Mexico right now as a market is shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Mexico, Central America, South America.
I know for a fact that like LA Kings, Dallas Stars, they both have dedicated Spanish language broadcasts.
Really?
I believe so.
That is so cool.
And it's like, this needs to ramp up.
Yeah. No, it's a huge untapped market. So NASCAR has the contract with Mexico City starting next year. IndyCar apparently has kind of dragged its feet, which let NASCAR beat them to the punch. Pecco Award and Alex Palou have both publicly had some not so nice things to say about IndyCar because of this. Their issues seem to kind of revolve around the fact that now Mexico City is like the best option to host a racing series. And so now Mexico City and Mexicans who want to come see racing now have 3 different racing series to choose from. And starting next year, Checo Perez is going to be back in F1. And as far as I'm aware, IndyCar won't even be there. So it's going to be between F1 and NASCAR, and then IndyCar maybe in the future.
I think that the argument is also that for once, IndyCar is being dominated by 2 Spanish speakers, one who is Mexican and one who is Spanish himself.
Right.
And IndyCar is not going to go racing in Spain.
No. And it shouldn't.
But for sure, they can go racing in Mexico, and they should.
This is like the best opportunity for them. There are also some rumors that Liberty is stepping in and exerting pressure on Mexico City officials who are like in charge of this kind of event planning. Since IndyCar, has a Mexican driver that could theoretically win an IndyCar race and F1 doesn't. Also, if you're specifically into a kind of racing, IndyCar and Formula One are much closer
than NASCAR and Formula One.
Exactly. So I think they're less concerned about NASCAR coming in than they would be about IndyCar. It's a rumor. No one come for me. But I think it's really interesting that Pato and Alex have kind of gone claws out in the media about it.
I mean, good for them. They're being smart about raising IndyCar's profile in a way that
is like manageable and easy.
So easy.
That's the thing.
Literally the easiest thing for IndyCar to do is to expand into Canada and Mexico. Simple.
All right. Well,
I guess that brings us to the grid as ... which for Jesus, I only did two dots. I know. Hang on. Okay.
Hold your horses.
That brings us to the grid as ... which for the uninitiated is a moment in our podcast where we categorize a handful of riders and drivers from across the great wide world of motorsports, the person, place, thing, concept, idea. And in honor of Halloween, we were going to do Halloween. I said Halloween songs. You said Halloween movies.
I feel like movies is better.
Okay. Classic Halloween movies. For my three. I have three. George Russell is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Camp.
Absolutely.
Camp.
100%.
The Marquez brothers. Twitches.
Oh, I see it.
Twin witches. And finally, not a movie, but a TV show. Lance Stroll is 30 Rock, specifically the 30 Rock episode where Tracy Jordan sings the Halloween classic Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.
Oh, I love that.
Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, spooky, scary, boys becoming men becoming wolves. Have you never heard it?
No.
It's so good. I was up late one night working on my Haftorah when I heard a knock at the bedroom door.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good.
Okay. I have a couple. So I went for the Marquezes as well, the brothers. They are...
No, the other Marquezes.
Okay, well, they're the Addams family because what I love about them is that like when you put Alex next to Mark, Alex looks super normal.
Yeah.
When you separate Alex from Mark, he is the scariest motherfucker in the room.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened to you? None of this is normal. Monster House is Pecco. The Monster House is Ducati. He is in there. He's stuck. For some reason, like Alex kind of gives Frankenweenie because he has his two wiener dogs.
Yes. Yeah. No, I see it.
Scooby-Doo live action.
Of course. Classic.
Is the entire VR46 Academy.
Could not agree more.
Right?
Right.
And Valentino Rossi is Scrappy-Doo.
No.
Yes.
Kimmy is Scrappy-Doo.
No, there's like an inherent vileness to Scrappy-Doo that Kimmy does not have.
Scrappy-Doo is the little baby brother of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and he's a jackass. Nobody likes Scrappy-Doo.
Sorry.
Clearly, you're not caught up in your Scooby-Doo lore.
I'm not, I guess.
And then I have one last one.
Yeah.
Is I think Lewis Hamilton is in a slasher movie. Like any of like this. Like he doesn't know it yet, but he is.
Pecco is Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, that's really sad.
Am I wrong?
No. I think Fermin Aldeguer and Pedro Acosta, all of the rookies post Pedro are in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yes.
And Pedro is that one girl who's always mean to Charlie.
Peppermint Patty.
Yeah. Oh,
Peppermint Pedro. Fernando Alonso is in Young Frankenstein where he selects the brain Abby Normal. He just is the Frankenstein in that movie. That Mel Brooks, he's really got a bright future ahead of him in comedy, I think. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the pod.
I think it does.
Come hang out with us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, or our website, MotoMouths.com. We have merch. It's really cute. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, rate, review, engage with on the podcast episode in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, let's keep chatting soon.
Happy Halloween, you guys.
Happy Halloween.